June 4th, 1942. The Pacific Ocean is burning, and America is losing.
6 months after Pearl Harbor, the Japanese Empire is unstoppable.
We had 3 battered carriers. They had 4 floating cities. We were outgunned, outnumbered, and out of time. Meet the Kido Butai, the deadliest fleet in history. They crushed everyone in their path.
If Midway falls, Hawaii is next.
Then,
The west coast of the United States. The stakes? Survival. But in a basement in Hawaii, a ghost team of codebreakers is listening. They hear whispers in the static.
Admiral Nimitz has a choice. Hide his last ships, or send them into a trap, hoping to spring a trap of his own.
He gambles everything. He sends the USS Enterprise into the dark. No radar, no backup, just guts.
The Japanese launch first. A swarm of steel. They don't know we are waiting. They think they've already won.
The battle begins, but the Americans make a fatal error immediately. One that should have ended the war right there.
The error?
confusion. Our squadrons got separated. The fighters went one way, the bombers went another.
The Torpedo Squadron 8 arrived first, alone, slow, flying low against the water, like ducks in a shooting gallery.
Then,
The Zeros came down. The Japanese pilots were the best in the world, and they were hungry.
our guns jammed. Our torpedoes failed. It wasn't a battle. It was a slaughter.
One by one, the American planes fell into the sea.
Squadron 8, destroyed. Squadron 6, annihilated.
Of 15 planes in Squadron 8, only one man survived. The ocean was swallowing our hope.
But look closely. To kill the torpedo planes, every single Japanese fighter dropped to sea level. They left the high skies, completely undefended. They didn't look up.
Because coming down from the sun were 50 American dive bombers, and they had the Japanese carriers right in their crosshairs.
The pilots push the stick forward. Gravity takes over. The world flips sideways. They are falling out of the sky.
On the deck below, the Japanese look up. It's too late. The sky is raining death.
Release. 1,000 pounds of high explosive. Aimed straight for the flight deck.
Boom! The Kaga vanishes in a wall of fire. Fuel lines rupture. Bombs on deck detonate. It is an inferno.
In just 5 minutes, 3 Japanese carriers are gutted. The pride of the Imperial Navy is burning.
Admiral Nagumo stares at the flames. His invincible fleet is gone. He has to be dragged off the bridge.
The Empire of Japan lost the war in this moment. But they didn't surrender. They got angry.
Because the Americans missed one. One Japanese carrier is still floating. The Hiryu.
The Hiryu is untouched, and now it is launching a counterstrike. Their target? The USS Yorktown.
The battle isn't over. The Japanese aces are coming. And this time, they aren't missing.
The Japanese pilots are angry. They follow the smoke of their own burning ships straight to the USS Yorktown.
Radar contact! The gunners lock and load! They know what's coming!
Here they come. The Val dive bombers. They don't break formation. They dive through a wall of steel.
Impact. One bomb. Then another. The Yorktown shudders like a dying beast.
The engines die. The ship stops. Black smoke rises miles into the sky.
But American damage control is legendary. In the dark, they patch the boilers, they fight the fire, they refuse to quit.
Miracle. Within an hour, the Yorktown is moving again. She is wounded, but she is ready for round 2.
But the Japanese return, this time with torpedoes. They see a moving ship and think it's a new target. Poor Yorktown.
2 torpedo hits. The hull is ripped open. This time, there is no miracle. The Yorktown is finished.
We lost a queen, but we found the killer. The Enterprise is launching everything she has. It ends now.
Target sighted. 5 p.m. The sun is setting. On the Enterprise, 24 dive bombers are fueled. This is the knockout punch.
Many of these pilots are orphans from the sunken Yorktown. They are flying with borrowed planes, and they want revenge.
The Hiryu is alone, the last survivor of the Kido Butai. Her captain thinks he can hide in the fading light.
Look at them. Tired. Eating their first meal in 12 hours. They think the Americans are done for the day.
Wrong. From the glare of the sunset, the Enterprise bombers begin their dive.
No mercy. Gotcha.
They scream down. The Japanese anti-air guns open up, but it's too late. The aim is perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits.
The flight deck peels back like a tin can. The Hiryu is gutted.
4-0. The Japanese carrier force is erased from history. America has won the air war.
As night falls, the ocean is lit by burning ships. It should be over.
He summons the battleships.
The monsters.
He wants to force a night battle, where American planes can't fly.
Admiral Spruance is cold, calculated. He knows his pilots are tired. He knows he can't fight battleships in the dark. The Japanese gunners are ready. One salvo from these monsters would tear the Enterprise in half.
The Enterprise vanishes into the night. When the Japanese arrive at the trap, the ocean is empty.
Yamamoto realizes he has been outsmarted. He has no air cover. Dawn is coming. He has to run.
June 5th. Morning breaks. The trap failed. But the Japanese fleet is messy in its retreat.
Contact!
In the panic, 2 Japanese heavy cruisers crash into each other. The Mikuma and the Mogami. They are crippled, limping.
Spruance turns the Enterprise back around. He smells blood. The hunt is not over yet.
The Mikuma and Mogami are crippled, bleeding oil, limping home at just 12 knots. They are sitting ducks.
The Americans don't just attack. They swarm. Wave after wave. Bomb!
The heavy cruiser Mikuma takes the brunt of it. Her turrets are blown off. Her funnels are crushed. She is turned into scrap metal.
Over 600 men go down with the Mikuma. The ocean is black with oil and crimson fluid.
June 7th. The guns go silent. In 72 hours, Japan lost...
In Washington, they couldn't believe it. Midway is ours, the telegram read. It was the miracle America needed.
But for the Japanese survivors picked up by U.S. ships, the war was over. For their country,
Tokyo did something unthinkable. They lied. They told the public Midway was a massive victory.
The wounded survivors were smuggled into hospitals at night, quarantined, silenced. No one could know the truth. But Yamamoto knew. The sleeping giant was awake, and America was coming for them. The butcher's bill was uneven. America lost the Yorktown and 150 planes. Japan lost 4 carriers and 250 planes. But victory isn't just numbers. It's empty bunks. It's letters that will never be mailed. The Pacific is a graveyard. But imagine if we lost. If Nimitz hadn't gambled. If the codebreakers failed.
Hawaii would be Japanese territory. The west coast of America would be under siege. The war could have lasted 10 more years.
Why did they lose? Arrogance. They called it victory disease. They thought Americans were too soft to fight.
Yamamoto made a classic mistake.
Nimitz didn't make that mistake. He concentrated everything he had at the decisive point. He knew the rule. United we stand.
Midway bought us time, and time was all the American giant needed to wake up. The factories were turning on.
Japan couldn't replace their 4 carriers. America? In the next year, we built 50. The war was won in the factories.
But wait,
Before the factories, before the pilots, there was one group of men who actually saved Midway. And nobody knows their names. 2 weeks before the battle, the Yorktown was a wreck. The engineers said it would take 3 months to fix.
3 months.
Nimitz looked at them and said, "We must have this ship. You don't have 3 months. You have 3 days."
Fort 1,400 men worked non-stop, in heat, in darkness. They patched the hull with timber and steel.
The Japanese spies reported the Yorktown was sunk. So when they arrived at Midway, they expected 2 carriers. They faced 3.
This is why they were confused. They bombed the Yorktown, thought she sank. Later, they torpedoed her again, thinking it was a new ship.
The ghost ship absorbed 2 massive attacks. She died so the Enterprise could live. That was the miracle.
How did he know?
He set a trap. He sent a fake message. Midway is out of fresh water. 2 days later, Japan radioed, AF is short of water. Gotcha. Rochefort knew exactly where, when, and how they were coming. Yamamoto brought battleships. Nimitz brought the truth.
Today, the mighty Akagi lies 3 miles down. But the spirit of the Enterprise didn't die. It lives on, in every pilot who launches off a deck today. Midway didn't just save Hawaii, it created the modern world. It secured the Pacific for the next 80 years.
They say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. At Midway, America made its own luck.
The Admiral, the spy, the pilot, the mechanic, ordinary men who did an extraordinary thing in 6 minutes.
The guns are silent now. The birds have returned to Midway.